Hey folks, I'm getting ready to shoot a string. Now I've been shooting long-range precision rifle for well over a decade. And I know that there's a lot of interest now in long-range precision shooting. And I'd just like to spend just a couple minutes to give you a couple of tips. And the tip today is all about breathing. You may have heard from numerous different people that you should not hold your breath. You should breathe through the shot. Well, that's really difficult to do in practice, and I don't recommend that. The reason is, as you are actually preparing to fire that precise shot, and if you're breathing through it, that reticle will move if you continue to breathe. So the secret is not to breathe through it, and it's also not to hold your breath for a long time. The key is to hold your breath for a very short period of time. So you've probably heard, and it's correct, to take some nice deep breaths, but those deep breaths should not be like this. Because what you're doing, yes, you're oxygenating your blood, but you're also increasing your heart rate. That's not what you want. You want to take good, deep breaths through your nose. 1, 2, there's 3 nice deep breaths. If you're correctly locked down on this gun, you're going to see the reticle moving absolutely straight up and down. If it's doing any of this kind of stuff, you're not locked down. You got to fix your position first. What I was watching is absolutely those reticles were moving straight up and down. At the exhale, there is a period of natural pause in your breathing. And so a lot of folks say that is when you should be squeezing the trigger. It's a natural pause anyway. You've got about 4, it matters on the person though, 4 or 5, maybe 6 seconds to squeeze that trigger. That works pretty well if you've got the bag and everything set so that at your exhale, when that reticle is in that position, it also happens to be right over the top of the bullseye. That doesn't always happen. So what I like to do is I call it the breath point. As you're doing those breaths, taking those breaths, watch the reticle and watch specifically when does that reticle cross the bullseye. That becomes your breath point. So after your 3 shots, you're going to either inhale or more likely, and if you can do it, better, exhale just a little bit, and as you hit that breath point, that is where you hold your breath. And this is a 2-stage trigger. Most precision rifles, you have 2-stage triggers of one sort or another. While you're doing your breathing, go ahead and take out the single stage. Now you're just waiting for that breath point. And then as you hit that breath point, you're going to hold your breath for a short period of time and finish squeezing the shot. Now, holding your breath for a really long period of time is not good. And we're going to do a little bit of an experiment. I'm going to hold my breath as long as I can, and I will let it out. But then I'm going to explain what was happening to my vision and to my ability to hold the rifle steady and so on and so forth. I'm going to be using also this pulse oximeter right here. I'm going to put this on my finger. Go ahead and get this thing started. Okay, we'll say that I have my rifle positioned where I want it, and I'm going to start the firing sequence. Took my 3 deep breaths. One more, I'm watching my breath point. And hold. Now notice how the oxygen level in my blood dropped. I don't know what the minimum was as I was looking through this, but one of the things I noticed at the very end, which I never held my breath that long on a rifle before, but I could feel the heart rate in the rifle. I could feel the heart rate in my fingers, in my hands. And my ability to really see the target started to diminish. The vision becomes unclear. And so that's why we shouldn't hold our breath for a long period of time. We just want to hold it for as short as possible, and certainly less than about that 4 seconds. Let's go ahead and see this in action. There's my 3 breaths. My breath point is about halfway through, 3/4 through the exhale. The exhale puts the reticles at the highest point. Holding the breath. There we go. Done right. I might have held my breath 1 second.